Hit the record
Are
button.
you ready? We're
All right.
on over there?
Wednesday, January 25th, 4 o'clock PM, Improvement and Service Committee. We'll note that Alderman Vanderleest, Alderman Nennig, and Alderman Weary are here temporarily chairing until our chairman, Alderman Nicholson, can be here. And I have an approval, number one, of the minutes of January 11th, 2017.
Move to approve. Second.
Motion by Nennig, second by Vanderleest. Discussion. Those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Number two, approval of the agenda.
Move to approve the agenda. Seconded.
Motion by Alderman Nennig, second by Alderman Vanderleest to approve the agenda. Any changes? No. All right. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Number three, and our chairman's here, so I'm going to hand it over to Alderman Nicholson.
Thank you.
Consideration with possible action on request of Alderman Nicholson to review the city's comprehensive plan for District 3 held over from January 11th.
I just want to, if I can entertain a motion to hold to our next meeting.
Move to hold. Second that.
Okay. There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Nays, motion carried. Number four, consideration of possible action on request by the Department of Public Works to award the contract to DLT Solutions for AutoCAD licensing using the government services pricing contract in the amount of $13,773.83. Director Grenier.
We've got a copy of the quotation included in your packet. DLT is the government services sales agent for AutoCAD. Contract is for the annual licenses required to operate AutoCAD. This was part of the budget, so it's a cost that was included in the budget that was approved back in November. Again, because the cost is in excess of $10,000, we need council approval to actually make the expenditure of money. But this is a budgetary item that wasn't identified and addressed during the budget process.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
By Vanderleest, second by
Second.
Worry. Under discussion? Or not?
I just had one
Go ahead,
question. What's the
Alderman Denny.
difference between 1 and 2 on here?
The first one is AutoCAD LT.
Oh.
That's a scaled down version of AutoCAD that's used in the electrician shop. The rest of them are the infrastructure design suite premium, so
okay.
it's a more expanded version that has design software
Okay.
along with it.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or concerns? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays, motion carried. Number five, consideration with possible action on the review and approval of 2017 special assessment factors and rates. Director Grenier.
We have included in your packet a copy of the proposed special assessment factors and rates for 2017. Starting with sanitary sewer, the cost for sanitary sewer main is proposed to stay stable at $47 a front foot or $95 a front foot if rock excavation is required. The 4-inch sanitary connection and 4-inch sanitary connection with rock, the 6-inch sanitary connection and 6-inch sanitary with rock excavation all have modest increases. The 4-inch sanitary connection is proposed to go from $1,300 to $1,375 with rock excavation, $2,300 to $2,375. 6-inch sanitary connection from $1,500 to $1,600, and 6-inch sanitary with rock excavation from $2,500 to $2,600. After we get through with the storm, I can give you the rationale behind those increases. Storm sewer main is proposed to stay at $60 per front foot. 6-inch storm connection is proposed to go from $850 up to $900. 12-inch storm connection from $1,550 up to $1,600. And stormwater management fee in lieu of proposed to go from $2,400 per ERU up to $2,500. We have not had a lot of contracts that had new construction for sanitary or storm sewer, so we don't have a lot of stable numbers from recent construction to base this off of. So our proposal this year, where we are showing cost increases, is based off engineering news record projected, or engineering news record cost adjustments for calendar year 2016 and comparing those to the 2015 rates. We do anticipate, we're seeing a lot of uptick in construction with new residential lots, so we are expecting to see sanitary and storm sewer lateral installations, and we do want to make sure that we are being covered, cities being covered on those. Water utility prepared their proposed special assessment rates, and you are going to see some pretty substantial increases there. Residential and other ordinary users, Maine is proposed to go from $33 per front foot to $55. Residential with rock excavation from $63 to $85 per front foot. User requiring larger than an 8-inch main is proposed to go from $41 to $65 per front foot. 8-inch or larger main with rock goes from $71 to $95 per front foot. A 1-inch lateral on a new water main goes from $1,100 to $1,500 each. 1-inch lateral with rock excavation is proposed to go from $2,000 to $2,500. 1-inch lateral on an existing, so that was 1 inch on a new main. A 1-inch lateral on an existing water main goes from $2,100 to $2,700 each. 1-inch lateral on an existing water main with rock goes from $3,000 to $3,700. A new 1-inch service connection or larger will be at actual cost. Speaking with the water utility today, these proposed rate increases for assessable costs are based on as-constructed costs reported for 2016, specifically costs associated with the Erie Road expansion project. For street construction, we can go through all of the numbers if you desire, but what I can tell you in summary is we are proposing to hold our street assessment rates constant from 2016. So a type A street stays at $115 a front foot in a residential zone. All other zones, it's $115 per front foot on an asphalt street, $205 for concrete. A type B street, residentially zoned is $69 per front foot. All other zone classifications, $103.50 for asphalt pavement, $184.50 for concrete. Type C street, which is our most common type of street, that's an existing street that has pavement and curb and gutter. Local streets, residential zones, stays at $34.50 per front foot. Residential zones on bus or heavy truck routes is at $31.05 per front foot. All other zone classifications for a local street are $74.80 on asphalt paved streets and $133.30 for concrete pavement. If the street is on a STP or NHS route, those are Surface Transportation Program or National Highway System. Residentially zoned properties at $23 per front foot. Residentially zoned on bus and/or heavy truck routes goes down to $20.70 per front foot. All other zone classifications, $74.80 for an asphalt street, $133.30 for a concrete street. Going to asphalt resurfacing, residentially zoned properties are proposed to stay at $17 per front foot. Residentially zoned properties on bus and/or heavy truck routes at $15.30 per front foot. All other zone classifications, $25.60 per front foot. And the interest rate for unpaid special assessments, again, this is the rate of borrowing that the city pays when we borrow money, because obviously if it's an unpaid assessment, the city's going to have to front that money to pay the contractor or pay for the work to be completed. We're going to have some carrying charges along with that, so it's the rate of borrowing plus a 2% administrative charge. We did reach out to our bond counsel, and bond counsel advises us that rates for 2017 are anticipated to be about 2.75%. So the interest rate for unpaid special assessments is proposed at 4.75%. Any questions regarding the assessment rates proposed for 2017?
If not, I'll entertain a motion.
One quick question. On the assessment where they use on the unpaid balance,
Yes.
what time frame do they have to pay that street or that?
That is split into 5 equal annual installments.
Does it go right on the property taxes?
Yes, it does.
Okay, that's a good question. Fair enough. Thank you.
Okay.
I think there's some logic behind all of these, so, and our staff is more aware of the costs than we are, so I'd make a motion to approve the recommendations.
Motion by Nenning to approve, second by
Second.
Weary. Under discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays, motion carried. Okay, moving forward. Number 6, consideration with possible action on applications for tree and brush trimmer licenses by the following. Steve, should we take one at a time, or?
I think we can take them collectively.
Okay, anybody got a problem with that? Okay. A, Fall Right Services. B, A Four Season Tree Care. C, True Green. D, Yesterday's Trees. E, A1 Tree Service Incorporated. F, Spike Stump and Tree Removal. And G, Holtger Brothers.
Vulture.
Holter Brothers. Okay.
All of these applicants have held tree and brush trimmer licenses with the city in the past, so staff recommends approval.
Move to approve.
Motion by Weary, second by Nenning, under discussion. Hear none, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays, motion carried. Number 7, Director's Report on Recent Activities of the Public Works Department. Director Kinnear.
Obviously, since the last time we've met, we've had some unique weather, a little bit warmer than normal for January, and that's caused us some significant problems. About 2 weeks ago, we had a snowstorm that was immediately followed up by a rainstorm, which the snow being plowed off clogged the inlets, then the rain coming behind it, and we had a onset of cold weather, so we were iced over, and then we had an ice storm the following week. So things were kind of treacherous here over the past couple of weeks, the first few weeks of 2017. However, with the onset of warm weather last week, I was able to get units diverted. We used graders out scraping in residential zones, and we had tractors, loaders, and actually we had guys, just employees out with picks and shovels and pickup trucks finding inlets. And we've got over 14,600 inlets in the city of Green Bay. So getting those open is of paramount importance to getting that water a place to drain when the warm weather comes. I did a couple of interviews with news stations here in the city, and that's the message we've been touting. And I have been very, very pleasantly, I don't know if I'd say surprised, but it's been a very positive reaction. Just about everywhere I go, I do take a lot of rides around the city. And I have seen a large number of folks who decided to adopt the inlet closer to their house. So we've got private residents out there keeping those inlets clear, and I think it's made a huge difference in our ability to drain that water off and stop it from refreezing. I am still working on some additional information. We had some information requests both from Alder Nenning and from Alder Dorf that came in relative to our recent discussion on the wheel tax. I hope to have that pulled together and ready for discussion at our next regularly scheduled meeting. I will tell you that since the last meeting, those are the only two alders that I have received any comments from. So we hope to have that wheel tax discussion ready to go and hopefully bring to some resolution here in the near future. We did hold a meeting in late December with downtown businesses relative to issues with parking in the downtown, and staff is actively working on resolving or addressing some of those issues, and we hope to have a release out that will address some of the things we've already taken action on here within the next couple of days. And then just a reminder, we talked about this last time, but here as we go into early 2017, we're going to be entertaining public hearings for street construction or construction projects that will be assessed. And I'm hoping in early February to have the capital improvement program ready so we can review and discuss the CIP. And because off of that CIP, then we prepare our bond request. And I'm trying to be positioned where we will have our information in so that finance can entertain a bond discussion at their meeting in early March. So the first set of preliminary resolutions would have actually come to council last week if we wouldn't have been hit with that ice storm. So you will be expecting to see preliminary resolutions for the first round of street projects at council on the 7th. And that concludes my director's report.
Question, Steve.
Yes.
Last meeting I asked you about the lift stations in the area. We have problems with flooding over by East Mason Street and Shane and Schwartz. Has anything surfaced or any information?
That, we're still working with the Utilities Division.
Okay.
Shane and Schwartz, that's one that's more in a backyard area as opposed to street flooding. So I know Matt has worked with those property owners in the
Right.
past.
But that was one of the areas that were recognized in the city of Green Bay that
Correct.
had some problems. I was just wondering if,
The first ones we attacked were the two off Broadway in the old slough area. 100 block of Smith.
right, I know, but I was just wondering about
Yep.
the report over by East Mason.
We're still
Okay.
moving towards that one. We're trying to
Sounds
get
good.
these, yeah, we're trying to get these first
Okay.
ones knocked out, and then we'll be moving into the next areas of priority as we.
Sounds good. That's,
I had a
anybody
couple-
else, Nenning?
I had a couple positive comments from residents that saw your crews out patching potholes the last couple of days.
Appreciate that. I will pass that on to staff.
Worry?
Thanks, yeah, I know it's been a challenging couple of weeks, and I think I've gotten more calls on potholes probably these last 2 weeks than anything, and appreciate the work. I assume hopefully you can still keep pounding away, and I know Shawano or Webster, there's some horrendous spots. I think.
Shawano has been a challenge, and I had a conversation yesterday with the Department of Transportation. If you remember back in 2005, there was that's when the railroad overpass of Shawano Avenue was removed. They filled in the dip. And as part of that project, they did an asphalt overlay of Shawano Avenue down at least as far west as Oneida Street, and it carried down all the way in front of West High, almost onto the Blackstone. And that's where we're starting to see a lot of these potholes developing. What's happened, the asphalt's actually coming up, especially around the edge of the road near the gutter line, in large sheets. That asphalt overlay was so thin, it's only about 1.5 inches of asphalt, that what happens as the water got down into cracks, it broke the bond between the asphalt and the underlying concrete, and now it's failing. So I've reached out to the DOT to see if there's any assistance they might be able to help provide us with, because it is a connecting highway, although this is what they would refer to as maintenance. We may wind up, as part of our capital program, I've got staff taking a look at it as far as, I'll be honest with you, pothole patching is not doing us any good. We can't get it dry enough to get the material to stay in there, and as fast as we throw it in, it's coming out. So I don't know how we're gonna limp our way through the winter until we can get dry conditions, and then once it dries up, we may wind up having to put a considerable amount of money into that street just to get it where it's trafficable again. So it's gonna be a challenge.
Right in the middle lanes.
And it's nothing more than freeze thaw. You know, we like having the warm weather, but the warm weather carries some detrimental effects along with it. And if it gets above freezing during the day and then below freezing at night, any water that finds its way into a crack refreezes, and water is an incredibly powerful medium, whether it's in its liquid state or its solid state as ice, that will move things around. So if it gets down into a crack and then refreezes, that's what helps develop potholes, that's what gets the delamination in the asphalt pavements. And it's extremely destructive, so we're doing the best we can to try to keep up with it, but I don't know if there's enough asphalt in the world to fill what we've got out there right now.
Thanks.
Any other concerns or questions? If not, entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Motion by Wordy to adjourn, second by Vanderleest, under discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nays, motion carried, we're adjourned. Huh?